Hi, my name is Insa, and today I'm going to be telling you a little bit about myself. A big challenge in my life is that I've never really been quite sure of what I actually want to do. So I let things happen to me rather than actively choosing what I want to do, because I still don't really know to this day what I want to do. But one of the big differences now is that I'm actually okay with not knowing what I want to do. I'm not just sitting here and waiting for it to come to me. I'm actually talking to people and trying to discover things. So you don't expect to just sit there and things will all sort themselves out. You do have to do something about it as well. I sort of flitted from job to job because the first few months were always quite exciting because it was something new. But after a little while, I always thought, no, this isn't really me. So I changed jobs quite a lot. I've been on a lot of personal development courses as well, and they always tell you on these courses that you choose to be happy, and you always take responsibility for everything. And I think that's not necessarily a good thing, because then you just beat yourself up about when it's not going well. And you think, well, I've done all these courses and I've done this and I've done that, so why am I not feeling really great about it? And it actually got to a point where I thought I can't go on, and that's when I came across some people who introduced me to the idea of the script, which is a little voice in your head. That's just made a massive difference to me, because even though that voice in my head is still there, I now know that it's not me. It's just a little voice, and it's an accumulation of when I was little, parents, teachers, people around me, just sort of putting stuff in my head that at the time when I was a child I believed, and I know that I can ignore it and I can tell it where to go. And that's just a really sort of liberating thing, even though it doesn't stop me losing my temper and sometimes shouting at people and getting into arguments. Afterwards I can sort of say, actually, that wasn't really me, that was just the stupid little voice making me do this. Now this is one that's a little bit more difficult for me to talk about, partly because a lot of people that are quite close to me don't know about this, but I'm going to do it anyway. I've actually in the past considered suicide. I've never actually gone as far as doing anything physically, trying to slit my wrist or take tablets or anything, but I actually got as far as looking into ways of committing suicide and going on forums and stuff. I sort of chickened out, because I got as far as saying, like, what's the best way of killing yourself, and there were all these various methods, like you can shoot yourself, but A, getting a gun isn't that easy, and B, even if you're a good shot, things can go wrong and then you end up as a vegetable, which I didn't really fancy. So there's never a guarantee that it's actually going to work. So even if you were considering any of those methods, I think there's probably a reason why committing suicide is so hard, because you're not supposed to do it. But because of this course that I did called Broadband Consciousness, where I learned about the script, it's helped me to see that that's not the real me, and that life really is worth living. It doesn't, even if you're in a really, really bad situation, and some people might consider that my circumstances weren't really that bad, but to me, it felt like it was really, really bad, and I wasn't enjoying life, and there was nothing worth living for. Now, bearing in mind, I have a 12-year-old child, so it's not like it's something that I would do lightly, because when anyone out there who's a parent would always consider their children, and fortunately for me, it never got bad enough that I would say, actually, she can cope without me, it's so bad that I need to go. But if you've ever thought about suicide, and I know there are lots of people out there and most people don't talk about it, then again, it's just research, and things might seem really, really bad to you, but it's never really as bad as you think, and you can get through most things. The important thing is to just find people that you can talk to, and find people who can support you and get you through the bad times. And it wasn't actually that long ago that I had those thoughts, and even sometimes these days I still get the odd sort of little niggle saying, "God, there's nothing really left to do in life, is there?" And then I tell her to shut up and say, "Yes, there is. I've got all these things that I want to do still. I'm still looking for the thing that I really want to do, and I've got my family, and life really is worth living because we're put on this planet for a purpose, and that purpose is just to enjoy life and find out what it is that we want to do and how we can help other people. I would always recommend, if you are depressed, trying to avoid medication, because the medication, it just gets rid of the symptom, it doesn't get rid of the actual cause. And I mean, for me, the cause was fairly simple, because it was a sort of postnatal thing. I'd had a C-section, which made me feel that I wasn't a proper mother, because I didn't actually give birth as such. She just sort of popped out of my tummy, which isn't a natural thing. And then I had problems breastfeeding as well, which again made me feel, or the little voice in my head was telling me I was a bad mother for not giving my daughter the best start in life, giving her breast milk. So that all contributed to me not just feeling depressed, but actually being depressed. And I think at the time probably the medication wasn't a bad thing, because otherwise I wouldn't have got out of it, and I probably wouldn't have gone to seek some other help to get rid of the antidepressants. But at the lowest point, and this is nothing to do with the postnatal depression now, is when I was seriously considering suicide. And I just felt like there was this huge sort of weight pressing down on me, and I was like in a black tunnel, and I couldn't see a light at the end of it, and I didn't know how to get out of it. And fortunately, I do have a good support network, and I had people that helped me get out of that black hole and made me realize that life is worth living for, especially when you've got family, whether you have children or not. There's other family that will be severely affected if you do something like that as well.
So what's life like now?
Yeah.
Having overcome such a difficult thing, you know, looking at life differently in terms of, you know, what's really important in your life. You know, you've got your Adrian, your partner, your friends, your family. What's that like now? Okay. So these days, even though I still get my lows, I just look at something that can sort of lift me up, and it might just be listening to one of the songs that I really like, sort of really upbeat thing, something like "Walking on Sunshine" is one of my big favorites. Another thing I also do, which I've been taught by one of my mentors, I don't do every day, but if I'm feeling a bit sort of iffy, I just sort of do this. Make sure that there's no coffin around me, which means that I'm not dead, and it's a good day. So if you just think of all the people who haven't got another day to live, or who haven't got much longer to live, who just love to swap their life with you so that they could have another few years to go on, just think about that, because once the curtain's down, that's it. There's no coming back. So even if I'm feeling low, there's always something I can find that's good about my life. How does it feel to tell your story?
A little bit scary, but it's quite liberating as well, just to not so much to get it off my chest, but just really to be able to share with other people. And one of the things that I really like doing is helping people. And in my daily job, I help people, not on a sort of deep level. It's more just helping them with using a piece of software. But being able to help people and knowing that my story, even if it only helps one person, that's just a really nice feeling, to know that I've helped someone who's in a similar situation or having similar challenges.